Hello everyone, thanks again for attending this webinar today. As I said guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the quote side of the Joblogic system. So just going to untap my menu there on the left hand side, and you can see quite clearly we have a quote section here. Just like your job section, if you drop it down you can log a quote, or you can open your quote desk and see all your quotes that are currently logged, outstanding and so on. So we're going to look at this at the end guys. What we're going to do first is we're going to log a quote into our system. So just like logging a job, you choose your customer and site first. So I can drop this down, just choose my ABC properties as we've done in all the other webinars, and then choose my ABC site. Again guys, you can see lovely nice detail here. So I've got details straight away available to me on the customer and the site. When we get stuck into the quote details, the very first thing it's asking is a title for this quote, a short, snappy sort of title that you want to put in. So let's go ahead and put that in. It's then going to ask me to give it a description. The next thing it'll ask you guys is the job type. So basically a quote is the job in waiting. Okay, so what you're going to do is when this becomes a job, you're going to tell Joblogic what type of job this is going to become. Now, as you remember from your Joblogic Getting Started webinar, the job types are that overriding header, if you like, for the quote. So of course, I'm going to make this an installation. If myself and my customer have agreed a reference for this, or they want me to put a specific person, I can put a quote reference number in here. So what I'm going to do is just put Dave123, just so we can see the reference later on. The source of inquiry, guys, is a reporting and searching mechanism. So I want to know how many inquiries for quotes I've had because they've seen a local press advert, or they've seen my website, they might have seen my van driving round. So all you need to do in here is type how they came across you, or of course if they're existing customer, just type existing customer. Then, like your job, I can change the owner of this quote, so I can give it to anyone else in my team if I want, or indeed just keep it to myself. Once I'm happy, I just simply hit save down the bottom right hand side. With my quote open guys, very similar to the job. Again, top bar right across here, action buttons, things that are going to do something if I click on them, and then obviously underneath them, as in all screens, you've got what we refer to as your feature buttons, things where you can go in and add content to obviously the quote or the job or the invoice and so on. Just like our jobs guys, we've got customer and site. Again, don't forget the hyperlinks. If I want to open the site details on another screen, I can do that just by right clicking and putting open a new tab. We've also got a profitability calculator which is going to begin to work and calculate this quote as we go along. Inside there, like every other screen, everything's locked down until we hit this edit, and here obviously you can see the tag functions that we've previously mentioned on other webinars. So I can tag my quote to Steve Morris, who's my account manager for this area. I can tag my quote for any other reason that I feel necessary, but I'm just going to use this idea that this is Steve's area. He looks after Telford in Shropshire, and I'm going to tag it for him. So again, searching and reporting functions guys, Steve can look at anything that's been tagged for him. Of course, we can make Steve the owner if we want to do that. My quotation title and description is all in there, so I'm just going to quickly save that, and just by putting that tag in. So of course, in your office you will have a process that quotes go through. What we're going to do now is we're going to begin to price this quote up. This is the first thing I'm going to do in my process. So you can see we've got our 6 cost headers here, where we can enter labour, travel, material expenses, call out and other items to this quote. So I'm going to begin to quote this up a bit by starting with my labour. Straight away guys, what you'll recognise is in the top left hand corner, it's got a cost per hour. Now, for those of you who've seen the Getting Started with Joblogic webinar, we talk about in your settings how you can set up a default cost per hour for labour. Because at the moment we don't know who the engineer is, this is our safety net, our ballpark average cost, if you like. Of course, this is editable to whatever I want to make it. So it's asking me how much labour am I putting in this, so I'm going to say this is an all-day job at £8 hours, sorry. And what you can see there is straight away it's picked up the sell rate per hour to this customer, to this particular customer that exists already in Joblogic. So I'm going to leave that as labour as chargeable, standard VAT rate, and hit save. So straight away I've got my first line in there, like so, and it's giving you an estimated sell value of £360. So if we jump back to the details here, look, you can see we've got an estimated cost of £148, giving me a total excluding VAT of £360 with an estimated profit of £212. So you can always nip back and check on this as you're going along, but of course it gives you it all in here, and down the bottom you can see a similar way of working out by Joblogic, but it gives you also the including VAT figure as well. We can put travel onto our quotes. Now again, I can change this cost if I want to, but look at my cell here. It's 0. It's 0 because the chargeable box is unticked. Now again, in the previous webinar, we talked about making travel not chargeable for this particular customer. So Joblogic automatically knows not to bill it, but of course we want to know the bottom line cost to our business. So again, I'm just going to change that to £18.50 and say that he's going to do 3 hours travel, hour and a half there, hour and a half back, roughly. So of course that's going to affect my bottom line. Okay, guys, you can tuck these figures away if you want, just by using these arrows, if you want to keep it nice and sort of tidy as you're going along. Now, of course, the materials. First thing with materials, guys, is you can search your parts library. So I can go into my boilers in my parts library and see that I've got a Baxi Eco Blue in there. So I'm just going to drop that in. What you can see then is it's pulled out the price of 88598, which is on my parts library. Again, I can change this and say, well, I actually got this for 800 today, and there's one of them. Okay, the sell value is recalculated as soon as I click on it, because this is the markup that we agreed for that customer. But I can override that and say I want £1,100. Then what it'll do is it'll recalculate your uplift. So you can change either of these, guys. So I can make that 40% if I want. Again, that will affect my sell rate. So it's entirely down to you. Okay, either of those will affect it, and of course the cost has that overlying effect on what they both do. The description, it pulls it from your parts library, nice full description, but I can add to that if I want to, or I can just leave it as it comes from my parts library there. And of course this is chargeable, so I can save it. I can add another line of materials again in here, but this time instead of using my parts catalog, I'm simply just going to free type it and just put radiator in there. Now the quantity I'm using of these, as we've said in the quote, is 5, and the cost of them, for argument's sake, is £100 each. Now straight away it's picked up that uplift again from the customer's record and is offering to sell them at 128, but I'm going to put them at 150. Radiator is what's going to be displayed, and it is chargeable, and save it again. Again, guys, if we tuck this in, you can see all in there down the right hand side. Total 2230 with a VAT amount of 446, giving me a 2676 of what I'm going to sell this for. But again, if I nip back to my details, I'm looking at a £1,500 cost roughly, with 2230 my total sell value. Expenses, your engineer might have to park, so again, don't have to use the drop down all the time, guys. I can start searching. Parking, we reckon it's going to be about £15 for the day, and I'm not going to charge the customer. So even though this customer agrees to pay expenses, I've turned this off for this particular job, like so. If there's a call out fee involved, well, this is an install, so no, I'm just going to leave that as blank. And anything other that I want to add. So obviously, you know, a standard sort of thing we see here in training is consumables. Okay, it's up to you how you word that, guys. It's free type, as we keep telling you. I'm going to put £100 worth of those in, and I'm going to sell them for 150 for argument's sake. So, couple of things on this. There's no limit in what you can put into each of these sections, guys. You can do whatever you want in here, make chargeable, non-chargeable, whatever you want to do. Okay, always checking my running total as I'm going through. My contacts, just like a job, I can assign a contact here. I'm going to assign my main customer contact, and it's got all my nice little details in there, and I'm going to simply hit save. So this can be obviously an email address that it'll pull, or of course we can add further ones as we go along. Don't forget, guys, as well, for those of you that use the web portal, so the customer portal for Joblogic, your customers have the ability to approve or reject quotes online. So the account, the contact that you give, if they use the web portal and you email them this quote, they can log into their customer portal and they can approve or reject this quotation online, rather than obviously emailing you back or phoning you, whatever it might be. Finally, our info button. So in here, guys, we've got any notes we want to put on the quote, any public, any private. So in my private notes, I might say just a simple internal message from the person that's logging the quote saying about the price. The public notes, just like your job, your customer can see. Okay, so in your details here, on your main quote, we put to install a new boiler, 5 rads, 3 electronic thermostats, etc, etc. We can make this nice and detailed. You know, we can put this as a full-blown 2 or 3 paragraphs if we want to, or you can use the notes section if you want to go into further detail, but be mindful this will put this at the bottom of the quote. Attachments. So again, if you've been out and surveyed the site and you've took pictures, and you want to upload them to this quote to show the customer, again, guys, public and private, just like your job. Private ones only internally you can see this, and obviously public ones, again, if you've given your customer the ability to see these online, they'll be able to see these and download them. What we also suggest here, guys, as well, is if some of you have full detailed bullet pointed underwritten italic fonts, you use colors on your quotes, etc., and you find that Joblogic currently doesn't give you that functionality, what you can do is just do your quote in Word as you normally do and upload it as a public attachment, and then quite simply in your details where you've written about what it is, you can say as per attached file, and then again your customers with that portal link, or if even you email them the portal link, they don't have to have a portal account, then they get to see your snapshot in Joblogic with your beautifully detailed attachment there. So that's an idea if you do like to send sort of templated quotations, you've used it for years, you like the way your quotes are laid out, just attach it, mention it in the description, and then you still get all this lovely functionality at the top that you can use. So with that in mind, guys, we're going to finish up by going through these buttons here and having a chat about what they do. First thing, if you have permission, you can delete the quote. So it's wrong, I've done it all wrong, I'm going to start again, I can delete it all. Just like your invoices, you have the ability to send your customer a detailed quote or a totals only quote. So the detailed quote, which we'll look at in a second, will show all your text and all your singular line prices, obviously no costs, whereas the totals only will only show your text and the bottom line price. It won't show any of this window in here. We can email just like we can the jobs, guys. You can see it's pulled in my contact already, it's given it a nice header already. Here's your quote, and again, just like the job, if I want the customer to see it online, I can pop in a little portal link here, which we'll have a look at shortly. So I'm just going to copy that so we can look at that in a moment, and then I can simply just hit send and off that goes. So that's emailed it now, and you can see my email has been sent there. I can download the quote, guys. Again, I'm in detailed mode at the moment, so you can see now it'll start downloading. Once it downloads into your browser, just simply open it up and you can see your nice simple layout of your quote. So that's my download. I can print it. Again, nice simple preview. And I can also send it directly. I can cancel it. And then we get to the 3 buttons that actually do something with this quote. So again, guys, you can have your own process in the office. The customer comes back. Some people tend to raise a quote and they let somebody approve it, ready to go to the customer, where other customers we teach allow the approve button to be used as the customer said yes, but we're not going to upgrade it into a job just yet. But they've given us the go ahead, if you like, or a soft approval. Again, don't forget the customer portal. Your customer can approve this online and then you guys can deal with it in the office. So I'm going to go ahead and approve it, and it's asking me if I've got an order number off my customer. So I'm just going to type a little number in there and hit save. What you'll notice then is when it refreshes, the approve button has been removed. This quote is approved, and then final option, we're going to upgrade the quote into a job. Okay, so we hit upgrade, we've got our order number, and it's asking if we want to put an appointment date in. Well, no, not yet. I'm going to put this into my planner. I'm going to let my scheduler schedule this install. So I'm just simply going to hit save. If you watch the screen now behind, guys, what you'll see is the quotation up here is going to change to a job screen. So you can see here, it's took me straight into the job, and you'll simply now treat this quotation as a job. But of course, you've got the ability to look back at the quote. You've got the ability to use this, change it, add information, and so on. Now guys, what's going to happen when you go to invoice this quote, this job, it's going to offer you the value of 2380, which is what we agreed as the quote price. What you'll notice is the costs are empty. Now this is on purpose because your quote, for the best sort of term I can use, is an educated guess. It's your experience that knows that it's going to be 8 hours, it's going to cost us this, it's going to be these consumables and so on. But of course, the beauty of Joblogic, it's going to tell you exactly the amount of hours it took, exactly what that boiler cost you when the supplier's purchase invoice comes in and you put it into Joblogic, exactly what your consumables were, what your expenses and parking were. So this is going to start building your profit and loss on this quote. So at the moment it's 100% profit. That 2,300 is pure profit because nothing's happened. But the moment we send it out, Joblogic and Joblogic Mobile and your office users with purchase orders and supplier invoices begin to start costing this up and give you those lovely reports inside Joblogic to see the profit and loss of your quote. Okay guys, thanks again for your time with this webinar today. Hopefully you can see how easily it is that you can handle quotes inside Joblogic and how you can upgrade them into jobs. Of course, any questions, you have our support team on hand, you have our online chat, and don't forget guys, on our website you've got the full-blown knowledge base with all the webinars, all the user guides and videos, and of course more free webinars that are available to book in at no charge to yourselves. Thanks again guys, look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye bye now.